Hi everyone, welcome to the third lesson of Intro to Scratch. Today we'll be talking about looks and sound. First, let's get to know the blocks. Let's start with looks. The first blocks are the speaking blocks. The first one will speak for a certain amount of time and the other one will speak forever. And the same goes for the thinking blocks, except they will show up as thought bubbles instead of speech bubbles. Next are the costume and backdrop blocks. They work pretty much in the same way. You can either switch to a specified backdrop or costume, or switch to the next one in your list of either costumes or backdrops. These next blocks control the size of the sprite. You can either change by a certain value, so when you change by 10, the size will increase by 10, or set the size to a certain percentage. The next blocks are the graphic effect blocks. So there's change and set. So as you can see, there are many different effects you can do, and I'll briefly demonstrate all of them right now. We also have the clear graphic effect block, which will just clear all of the effects you've applied. The next blocks are show and hide. They do exactly what they sound like. They will either show or hide your sprite. Next are the layer blocks. You can either go to the front or back layer, or go forward or backward a certain number of layers. So if you can see right now, each sprite is on a different layer and they overlap each other. So when you go to the front layer, the sprite that you tell to do that will go to the very front, and the back it'll send it behind all of the sprites you have. And going forward will just go forward or backward however many layers you want. So that would be like overlapping or going underneath however many sprites you want. The last block in the look section are variables, which, as I mentioned in the last lesson, we'll talk about later. But we have ones for the costume number and name, and the backdrop number and name, and the size of the sprite. What the variable holds, you can put them into different oval slots in the blocks you see on the screen right now. So for example, the costume name holds text, so you can put it into any of the spaces that hold text, like for thoughts or speech. And the costume number is a number, so you can put it into the number of seconds in the speak block. To the sound blocks. So just a reminder of how to add sounds, you can go to the sounds tab on the very top. The first block is the play sound until done. This will completely play the sound before doing anything else. Unlike the start sound, which will just start the sound, but it'll start other blocks right after. Then we have stop all sounds, which will stop all the sounds. Then we have the change pitch and pan left right effects. Pan left right just means that if you're wearing headphones or earbuds, the sound will go from left to right. Then of course we have clear sound effects, and change volume by, and set volume to, which just adjusts the volume. Finally we have the volume variable, which will just display the volume level. Our project for this lesson is to animate a word. Here are some project ideas for what you can do to your letters. A couple of them are from this lesson and some are reviewed from last lesson. Pause the video here and try the project out on your own. To start, add however many letters sprites you need for your word. The word I'm doing is just hello, so I will be picking out 5 different letters. For the first letter, we're going to do the changing color option. So first, we need to start off our code with an event. So we're going to do when this sprite is clicked, and then changing colors is a look. So we'll need to go to the look section and pick the changing color effect by block. As you can see, when you click it, it now changes colors. Feel free to experiment with changing the number too and seeing how that changes the effect. We're going to do a very similar thing, but have the sprite play a sound. So this time we're going to do when the space key is pressed for it to play a sound. And you can pick whatever sound you'd like and whatever key you'd like as well. Is very similar to the first one as well. It will be changing the size when the sprite is clicked. For the last two letters, we'll be reviewing some of the motion blocks we learned earlier. So the first one will be for the letter to glide around, and the second one will be to spin. The last two letters will be reviewing our motion blocks. So the first one will glide around and the other one will spin around. You can feel free to combine any of these animations, or you can use your creativity and experiment with some other blocks that we've learned about and create your own animations. We'll be using a block that we haven't talked about before, and it's called the repeat block. So whatever is in between this block will repeat for however many times you tell it to. Now that we finished the lesson, here are some extra ideas to help practice your skills. The ideas I have for you are to make a card, make a dance party, or build a band. Here are some examples of the projects. Make sure to read the instructions on the screen for more details, and feel free to use your creativity to make the project your own. Unfortunately, the sound did not record, but for the first project, it plays Happy Birthday, and once the song ends, the candles blow out. For the dance party, there is music in the background, and for the band project, each instrument plays a sound.